Welcome back. This is Thomas Triple T Ty with another new bullish crypto analysis. Let's dig in and check out Bitcoin on the hourly chart. But before we do, I would like to say something. It takes sometimes hours to produce some of these videos, and I'm looking at the interactions on these videos, like how many likes there are, how many comments there are. If you are enjoying these videos because I make them for you to help you make informed decisions in the market, please take the time to leave a comment, click like, or double tap on the dislike button, thumbs down. But your interactions help me understand what you're feeling and what content may be of value to you, because I make content for you. So let's dig in. This is the weekly chart. I started leaving notes here instead of erasing them so that it helps me remember what we last talked about. So in the last video on the weekly chart on TradingView, the candle was white and it's still white. The weekly chart doesn't change much day over day. So the current candle is white and it's still below on the bottom of the Bollinger Band. And for those who don't understand the Bollinger Band, it basically is just this band that tracks the movement of the candles or the momentum of the prices. And when the candle is at the top of the Bollinger Band, all it means is that it's overbought. And when it's at the bottom, it means it's oversold. So currently on the weekly chart, it's at the bottom, meaning that it's oversold. And here we can see that you can see this red line here. This is the 200 week moving average, and you see that it's trending up. Eventually this price could go down and meet it potentially, unless it goes back up. So yeah, not much has changed here, but let's go over some of these notes here from the last video and see where we are with them. Here is the KDJ indicator. And the last time it says the J line on the KDJ indicator is still trending up, and it is still doing that. And it could intersect with the blue K line and the D red line. So it's still the same. I mean, it's moving up slightly, and so it's continuing on its path there. On the MACD, which is this next row here, where you have the histogram bars. Last time it said the white MACD line is still trending below the red signal line, showing more bearish trend, and it's still doing that. So not much change there. Down below, previous note said RSI, CVD, and momentum indicators are still trending up, showing bullish signs. They are still trending up. I want to zoom in on here. I need to do more of this for you, so you can see zooming in how they change. You can see that the current week right here is trending up right there. But previously it's been trending down. So this is a nice reversal right here. And that covers the week. Let's hop over to the day. On the daily chart, it's still within this descending channel. And the last time we visit this candle right here where this arrow is pointing, let's read what it says. 1/3 from the Bollinger bottom. Again, here's the Bollinger Band. It's 1/3 from the bottom. And so that's slightly bullish because it's moving up and it's still in the descending channel. It's heading towards the resistance line of this channel here. What that resistance line means is that if it breaks through that, it's very bullish. But if it bounces against it and goes back down, that's bearish. This current candle, this white candle here, not the current one, this one before it, it was red, and it had a but now it after I did the video, it turned white, but the current new candle is red. So although it went up, it's kind of more sideways, and then the current candle is red with a tiny little body. So what that means is that, you know, the difference between buyers and sellers or bear and bulls is very little. They're not fighting over it. For example, a long candle, you can see all these tiny little candles compared to some of these larger ones. And we'll talk more about tiny little candles in a bit. So it's still going up this way, but the candle bodies are very small. Down below, we have, previously we stated that the KDJ line was fanning up. It's still fanning up. Like previously, it was right around here. It was fanning up, and now it's fanning up more. So that's bullish. That's a good sign right there. When it's fanning upward like that, that means that it's projecting that future candles will continue to rise and price will continue to rise. But you can see that on the day, it doesn't change as much as later on in the hour. The MACD line, previously, it says MACD line was turning sideways, with a low histogram, meaning neutral. So it's no longer going sideways. I'm going to zoom in here for you and so you can see. The MACD line is the white line here, and the signal line is the red line. So when the MACD line is below the red signal line, that's when you get this curve right here. You get these histogram that's red. When it's below, it's bearish. When it goes back up above the red line, it's bullish. So you see that. See these measure the delta. It measures the difference between the white line and the red line. If the white line is below, the distance between the two is this bar, these bars here. Okay, so now it's turning back up, but you can see this was the 20th, and now this is the 28th. So that's roughly about a week's worth of information right here. And the MACD is a lagging indicator, so it uses previous data to predict the future. So by the time it shows the current pattern, it might have happened already. So currently, we have two days worth of white bullish bars here, and you can see that it went above. What you want to notice here is what's interesting here is you see how this back here around the around 729. Let me double check that. Sorry. That's September 29th, the end of September. You see these big waves here? Right there? You see how large these bars are? When these bars are large like that, this movements are bigger. And I'll zoom out and I'll show you. So back here, you see all these movements here? So September is back here. You see all these large candles? They're big. They're tall in size. That also show that these bars will be bigger. So between the sellers and buyers, the difference between them is larger. So you can see that reflected in the MACD. But here, the tiny little candles is also reflecting the MACD right here. So currently what it's doing is, let's zoom back in again. You see how it did these waves right here? But now it's just like tiny little differences between them, between the MACD line and the signal line. Just tiny little differences. And so it's just kind of like going boom, boom. And it's kind of like going low in this low region instead of in the upper region here. So the region matters too. So when it's way up here, that matters. Get out of here. So when it's show you here, the MACD, so MACD right here, you see when it's at the top of the region, look what it's doing. That's KDJ, MACD. When it's at the top of the region right here, you can see how it rised up. So the movement matters. So when it's down here, lower, it tends to be lower. So right here, and when it's at the top of the region here, right here, see how it peaked? So let's zoom back in again. So this describes the potential prices too. When it goes up like that at a steep slope, that matters. Prices rising at a steep slope. And then when it drops down, prices dropping fast. Right here, you can see it's consolidating. And near the bottom, it shows where the price is too. So not only do these bars matter, but the waves matter too. So something you might want to keep in mind for the MACD. On the RSI, which is red, the aqua line is the cumulative volume delta. The white line is the momentum indicator. So let's see what we had last time. RSI and CVD starting to trend sideways. Well, so RSI is red. It is going sideways. And CVD, which is the cumulative volume, all that does is measure supply and demand. If it's going sideways, supply and demand is pretty much equal. And you can see that in here. You see that? Tiny little candles, supply and demand, buyer and sellers, they're pretty much equal. And you got the momentum indicator is trending up, which is the white line, and it's trending up. So we're going to zoom in for a little bit here. So this is a zoom in view. You can see right here how the red line is RSI, right? So here is the 29th, here is the 30th. So just that tiny movement, but you want to take a look at the overall look. So in the past days, this is since October, RSI has been dropping down over on average. It picked back up, since the 22nd, picked back up, but you can see how it just like moves. But you want to look at the overall trend and then look at the current trends. Pick back up, going back down again. So instead of looking day to day, look at the general trend and then figure out, okay, what is it doing in the current day? On the cumulative volume delta, which is the aqua line here, it trended down, similar to RSI, the aqua line, dipped down here, and then went back up slightly, and then dipping down. So almost the same as RSI. The momentum, overall, it went down, but more, what do you call that, when it's going more dramatically up and down. But overall, it went down and then went down, up, down, up. So it's still going up in recent days. So if since the 22nd, all of them on average has been trending up. All three of them have been trending up. So that's bullish. So these little trend downs, I wouldn't take too much into that. Look at the average. Average is they're trending up. So that's bullish. But that's only recent. Overall, they've been trending down. So consider that. So this one right here is still true from the last time we did, which is yesterday. So not much has changed here. And you see that when you track this day to day. Let's go to the hourly. On the hourly, this is interesting. More actions here because it's a lower time frame and things change more quickly. So we have this ascending channel, ascending channel here. We have the resistance line here. We have the support line here. The resistance line means that things will, the price move, or the candles will move up. And if it breaks through it, that's bullish. If it drops down, that's bearish. The support does the opposite. If it goes back down, bounce against it, and then bounce up, okay, that's good. But if it breaks through, then that's bearish. What it's doing here, you can see that since we drew this, it's been going sideways and it's breaking through the bottom support channel line here. So that's slightly bearish, but it's going sideways. So it's not that bearish. You got to consider that because if it kept going in this channel, that's very bullish. But the fact that it's going sideways, consolidating sideways with tiny little body candles, then it's pretty much neutral or slightly bearish because it broke through this support on this channel. A new ascending. Okay, so we can ignore that. We just talked about that. And on the Bollinger Band, the top of the Bollinger Band here and the bottom of the Bollinger Band here, it touched the bottom of the Bollinger Band on the hourly and then went up slightly. The current candle, the red candle here, is slightly more towards the center of the Bollinger Band on the hourly. And so, and the previous horizontal channel that we have here, this is the resistance line for previous horizontal channel, and this is the bottom channel support. So it hasn't come back into this previous channel, and it's riding on top. So more than likely, it's forming a new channel up here like right here. So we can go move that up. So now you have the new channel and the previous channel, something like that. So if it continue to range in this area, and that's fine. If it goes up, that's bullish. If it goes down below, now it's gonna have a bearish trend. Let's go below and take a look at the notes from the previous video yesterday. That last point was right around here. The white J line remains below the blue K and red D line, but it's starting to curve up slightly bullish. So right here is where we had that note. It did curve up when above the 2, the white line I'm talking about here. Let's zoom in. That's now zoom. Don't know what that is. That's a, whoa, that's a bit much. Anyways, so here's the white line. It did curve up, did go above the blue and the red line, the J line here, the white, and then went back down. But you can see how it just is very cyclical in the hour. So yeah, so as it was going up, price went up. See that right there? Price went up as it was going up. When it broke through both of the other two, you see that big candle, well, not so big, but it's bigger. The bigger candle, as it broke through, bigger candle went up, white candle above, and then it flat out, and then went back down as you saw more red candles. And then when it broke through, you have the bigger red, right there. When it intersects the other two, you have the bigger red candle right there. See that? When the slopes are more steep in either direction, the candles will tend to be bigger. So look for those slopes. And you can see on the KDJ here, the top of the indicator is up here. The bottom of the indicator is here. When you have bigger waves, you can expect bigger actions. But when it's just kind of like moving in the middle or just like tiny movements, there's not going to be a lot of actions there. Expect tiny little candles. Let's go down to the MACD. The MACD, previously it said that the white MACD line is trending below the red signal line with a low delta between them, meaning tiny little histogram bars. So slightly bearish. So what happened? So let's zoom in. So whoops, right here. So previously we were here. So MACD line, which is the white line, was trending below the red signal line. So it's bearish, trending down. And then what did it do? And then it went back up, crossed the signal line, and then went down, touched the signal line almost, and then continued to bounce down. So if you look at the overall trend here, just ignore the waves for a second. The overall trend here is trending down together. Okay? So that's bearish. But it can move up and down against the signal line. Okay, and these patterns will change. But if you look at the histogram bars here, which represent the deltas between the white line and the red line, they're tiny compared to some of these over here. And you can see these larger waves there. Okay, that matters too. So currently, it's saying that, you know, it's consolidating sideways, and there's not a lot of differences between buyers and sellers. And you can see that up in the candles here. So for MACD, take into consideration where the MACD and the signal lines are versus the possible high tops and low tops. Here MACD is very high, and here's low, much lower. So that range matters. You can see how it is like the bars here went from larger to smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just indecisions. It shows indecisions right there. On the RSI red line and the CVD, cumulative volume delta, aqua line, and the white momentum or MOM line down here, it's pretty much, if you look at the overall range, what is it doing? It's just going sideways, really. There's ups and down periods in the hours, but mainly it's going sideways. And this is what it says right here. Previously, it was going slightly down, but that's just looking at a short time segment. It changes. It just so that kind of indication, if you look at it from hour to hour, doesn't really matter unless you're trading within the hours. But look at the overall trend and see what it's doing. It's mainly going sideways and slightly down, and then all three are just horizontal, and there's not much change. Over here you can see the big fluctuations. They all went down steep. You see that? And you can see the price changes. And here you can see momentum building up, right? The white line, that's momentum. It's building up while the other two are going slightly up. So that's positive, but building momentum, right? And here you can see the aqua line, which is the cumulative volume delta. That helps you understand supply and demand, buyers and sellers. If it's trending up, that means that there's more demand than there are supplies. But then when it continues to kind of go in horizontal, they're kind of even. So that's why you see these kind of actions. So what does this tell us? Looking at the weekly, the daily, and the hourly. Well, the hourly is moving too fast to give you any indication. So you have to look at the averages. Based on the hour, it's going to consolidate some more. What's interesting on the hour is that we had a low here, then we had a higher low, and a higher low. That's positive. But if this pattern continues sideways for a long period of time, what's going to happen is indecisions is going to create some kind of movement, major movement, either movement down or movement to the upside, right? And up here on the, we had a high here, higher high, another higher high up here. So it had a positive movement, but now it changed course. It's no longer doing this ascending channel upward. It's going sideways. This sideways movement is going to either pop up or pop down. It can't go sideways forever. It never does that. So expect some volatility coming up here. Let's look at the heat map and see what's going on. That's not the heat map. So on the heat map, I'm going to start out with zooming out. What's interesting about the heat map, this is a consolidated heat map, is that you see these bars here. This is a buy wall, propping the price up at 37,100 roughly, and then we have a sell wall up here, several, that's pushing the price down. So together, you see how they came in at the same time almost. This was around the 29th. This is January 29th, around 1700 hours Pacific Standard Time. And this one right here is the 29th, around 1400 hours Pacific Standard Time. So right around the same time. That's not coincidence. They're controlling the movement of the price right here. And you can see all these spoof walls up above and buy spoof walls below here. Coddling the price, controlling its movement. And you can see currently right here, there's a giant or multiple walls up here that's consolidating to push the price down. You have another one below pushing the price right here. It's going to continue like that. And that's why you see horizontal movements. But sooner or later, one of them is going to give up, or the other one's going to apply more pressure. Then you can have an upward pressure, upward movement, or a downward movement. And look at here. Before we didn't have much of sell walls up here, but now we do. At 40,000, we have a buy wall here. Up here at 40.8K and 41K, we have some sell walls that just came in here. So some people are expecting price to come up here, and they're already putting their orders. Whether they're spoof or fake or not, that remains to be seen. We'll see when the price moves up. Down below, we still have some sell walls, but remember, they used to be very, very heavy down there. They're no longer heavy down here. You can see some of these spoof walls here, they disappeared, right? They were heavy here, and then they kind of disappeared, and you only have a thin bluish wall here. But they used to be much heavier down there. Let's scroll down a little bit and see what's below. Below, we still have 33,000, a thin wall here. At 32,000, at 31,000, it gets thicker, but you notice how it changed over time. You see the color differences right there. The 30,000 buy wall is still heavy. It's been heavy for a long time, so that hasn't changed. At 29,500, there's a wall here. 29,000, there's another wall here. 28,000, another wall here. Let's go down further. Okay, so that's 28,000 up here. 26,000, a pretty thin wall here. 25, 22, and you see how this one disappeared? It was here for a bit at 24,000, and then it just like, nope, changed my mind. And at 22,000, there's a thin wall here. At 21,000, there's still a wall here. And I doubt at 20,000, so 21,000, 20,000. So all these buy walls are still down here, but they may not be as thick or large, but they're still down there. So let's zoom out. When we zoom out like this, some of them will consolidate. So the bottom is right here. I'm just going to expand it up a little bit so you can see it better. So zoomed out, it looks more like that. More buy walls down here remaining. So the expectation for Bitcoin's price to drop below is still there. You know, a lot of people's like, it's the bottom end yet? It's the bottom end yet? Well, the thing is, a lot of my indicators on chain says the bottom could be in already, but there's no confirmation of it. Typically, what happens is when we hit the bottom, it retests multiple times, and it retests the support level, which is around 30,000 right down here. You can see how it's how these walls are right around this area. See that? Yeah, so typically when we hit bottom, it tests that level several times before it goes back up and it rallies back up. And when it was around 41,000, people, some influencers were like, oh yeah, that we reached the bottom. No, it didn't retest that multiple times. That's why I was pretty confident that it could go back lower. The same thing's happening now. You see price move up to like 38, 39. Great, that's fantastic. But it hasn't really retested the bottom at around 30, 29, 28. It hasn't. And in order for it to do that, it has to do a quick drop, like really quick drop. Flash all the way down and then go back up. That's what I'm waiting for. And so that is something you might want to keep in mind. It hasn't done that. There hasn't been a major liquidation that happened yet. In order for us to move up with a rally, we need that liquidation. We need that drop and that retest. Maybe once, maybe twice, at least one more time. And the last one was like barely anything. Like it just kind of like slowly went down. No, we need a major drop with a lot of momentum. I hope you found this useful. Again, please leave a comment and share with me your thoughts. I use your feedback to help make these videos better. And smash the like, ring my bell to get notifications, and hit subscribe. Appreciate your time. Thank you.